So Bryce Harper is being called a dirty player by some baseball fans, which really has me worried about the future of humanity because I don't know how you come to that conclusion, but we'll talk about that. Adolis García, he had the best bad game in the history of the playoffs. No, seriously. He became the first player ever to put up this stat line because he stunk, but he was also really good. And also, we have to talk about a huge potential suspension coming for the Astros. Star relief pitcher for the Astros, Bryan Abreu, he could be gone for today's Game 7 or worse, Game number 1 of the World Series if the Astros end up moving on. All of that in today's MLB Recap, and just a reminder, Recap is presented by SeatGeek. Use code Fuzzy to save $20 off all of your tickets. And right now on Underdog Fantasy, code Fuzzy will get you a $500 deposit match. It's only for new customers, so make sure you guys sign up, use code Fuzzy, it's free money. All right, let's talk about this Rangers and Astros game, shall we? Game number 6, the Rangers are fighting for their lives. Jose Altuve, he started the bottom of the first with a single. He then immediately stole second base, which was huge because he got in scoring position for Yordan Alvarez, who clutched up with a bloop RBI single. Mitch Garver, he got that run right back with an opposite field home run. Look at that fan making a sick barehanded catch. There's another Oppo Taco, this off the bat of Jonah Heim. I don't know if Tucker just misjudged it. I feel like he could have caught that with a better attempt at the wall. Evaldi, he was pretty good as well. He allowed just one run through 5 innings. He allowed one base hit in the first and then not a single base hit for the next 4 innings until the 6th when Yordan Alvarez and Jose Abreu, they both got on via a single, and then Yordan, he eventually scored on a sac fly from Mauricio Dubon. So now it's a 1-run game. Texas, they really need to flip the switch before Houston rallies again, and that'll do it. Mitch Garver, he had a huge game. He was a triple away from the cycle. He scored the rookie Evan Carter, who kind of pulled a Jose Altuve. He singled and then stole second base. By the way, this was all off of Bryan Abreu, who could be suspended later on today. We'll talk about that in just a second. Texas, they loaded the bases in the 9th inning, and Corey Seager, he got hit in the shin. That has to really hurt. And the bases, they're still loaded for Adolis García, who is currently 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. That is a platinum sombrero, and that right there, that is history. He's the first player in the playoffs to have 4 strikeouts and a grand slam in the same game. I'm actually the first person to tweet that. He has 3 home runs and 10 RBIs in this series, but you see what I mean, though? Earlier, we talked about how Kyle Tucker could have robbed that home run from Jonah Heim, and that's what I meant. Kyle Tucker, he's an athlete. He put on the moon shoes to rob Gronkowski. Again, he could have 100% robbed Jonah Heim. Anyway, Andrew Heaney, he stepped in the 9th inning. He finished off the game, so now we have the 2 best words in sports. Game 7. Now, before we talk about the potential suspension of Bryan Abreu, let's talk about Game 7 and the matchup going on later today. We have Scherzer versus Christian Javier. We're going to talk about the advantage right now because technically on paper, Christian Javier, he has the advantage over Max Scherzer because Scherzer against the current Astros roster, he's holding them to a .290 batting average, which is not good. Christian Javier, he has a higher K percentage against the current Rangers roster. He has a better batting average against. So on paper, in terms of the starting pitching matchups, we have Christian Javier with a slight advantage over Max Scherzer, but then again, he's Mad Max. At any moment, he can pop off. We haven't really seen that lately, so we don't have a lot of trust in him right now. And he's old. Now, let's talk about Bryan Abreu and the fact that he could be suspended 2 games starting today. Now, we don't have an update exactly at this moment because Major League Baseball hasn't decided whether or not they're going to uphold the suspension or not. Abreu, he did appeal it, but if it does go through, he will miss game number 7 and game number 1 of the World Series if the Astros move on. And can I just say this right now? There's no way he should even be suspended. That was not an intentional hit by pitch. I don't care what you say. If you believe that's the case, maybe you're just a biased Rangers fan, but fans across social media, including players and former players, they all said that this was not an intentional hit by pitch. Bryan Abreu is a human cheat code. He's allowed like 1 run over the last 3 months. He's not going to give the Rangers a free base runner in game number 5 of the ALCS. It's just not feasible in my opinion, and we had some players talking about it.
That was probably the biggest home run of Garcia's career. I have no problem with him pimping it like that, and I don't think anybody in our dugout had a problem with it. These umpires have a hard job, and I understand that they're trying to take away the hit by pitch from the game. Got to have a little more awareness, I think, in that situation. There's no chance that we're trying to hit somebody. There's no way we're going to put another runner on when we're down by 2 in that situation. It didn't fire us up, honestly. It pissed us off.
Now, before we preview game number 6 happening later today between the Diamondbacks and the Phillies, this one happened a few days ago, this game, but there was a ton of fireworks and drama. My friend Bryson Stott had a huge game. He had a couple base hits, including that RBI base hit in the first. He had a sick web gem. He had a couple web gems, actually. But the story of this one was Bryce Harper. He had his fingerprints all over this game. So he stole home on that throw to second base. Now, some, not all, some baseball fans were saying that was a dirty play. How? What? Are we watching the same game? It was a bad throw that led Gabriel Moreno straight into Bryce Harper. It was just a perfect storm for all of the haters that have not liked Bryce Harper since he was a superstar, the chosen one, back at the College of Southern Nevada when he was 16, 17 years old. Maybe you still think that he's a hothead, but Bryce Harper, he did not do that intentionally. He is not a dirty player. I mean, what are you watching? I also thought that it was hilarious how he tagged home as he was checking on Gabriel Moreno. So let me know your thoughts on this situation down in the comments down below. Kyle Schwarber, he went perfect on another prodigious home run. He has 20 postseason home runs down. Bryce Harper, he hit one 445 feet. He has 16 home runs and an insane 1031 OPS over the course of his postseason career. He is as clutch as it gets. JT Realmuto, he's a beast as well. He socked a 2-run home run in the 8th inning. All of that was for Zach Wheeler, who shoved again. This Philadelphia Phillies staff is no joke. Wheeler, he punched out 8. He lowered his career postseason ERA to 2.48. This guy is nails. And now they have Aaron Nola going, who is a postseason beast as well, or at least if we're not talking about the World Series from last year. Let's talk about the matchup of Merrill Kelly versus Aaron Nola. So again, this is all speculative, on paper stuff. We can't predict the future, but on paper, the Phillies have the advantage because Aaron Nola has been a savage against the current Arizona Diamondbacks roster. He has a 27.5% K percentage and only a 1.3 walk percentage. He's holding the Diamondbacks to a 221 batting average. On the flip side, Merrill Kelly, he's still been pretty good against the current Phillies roster, but he has an expected 281 batting average, which means that the Phillies hit him pretty hard. So, I mean, again, on paper, the Phillies, they should be moving on to the World Series, but maybe I'm jinxing it. Let me knock on wood. Now, before we get into today's Immaculate Grid, I want to show a clip from 30 years ago. 30 years ago today in MLB history, Joe Carter, he won the World Series with one swing. I think that's the second walk-off World Series home run, at least to win the World Series in general. I think the first one was Bill Mazeroski of the Pirates way back in the day, and then Joe Carter for the Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, a moment in history that we will never forget. That's one of the more famous home runs ever. Whoa, what is this? Born outside US 50 states? Wow, this is a brand new category. Okay. Is it bad that I'm stumped on the first one, a Brave and a Cardinal? Why is no one coming to mind? A 300 batting average for the Cardinals. I could go Stan the Man Musial. I could go someone like Albert Pujols. I'm going to try and, let's go Matt Holliday. I'm almost positive that he had a 300 batting average. He did 2%. Let's see if we can get every single one under 10%. Born outside US 50 states and a DC. I'm going to go ahead and tip my cap to someone that is no longer with us. One of the former top prospects in baseball. Unfortunately, I think he was in a car accident. I think it's Oscar Taveras. Was that his name? Oscar Taveras. Wow, 5% of you, okay. Born outside the US 50 states and is a Pirate. I could go with Roberto Clemente. I could go with O'Neal Cruz. I'm trying to think of some, what's that guy's name? You know what, I'm gonna go Cruz. I feel like Cruz might be someone that is not a high percentage one. I missed it by 1%. Born outside the US, you could go Ichiro for the Mariners. I'm gonna go with Teoscar. I feel like Teoscar Hernandez might be a low rarity pick, so let's go with that one. 2%, I was right. A 300 batting average season for the Pirates. I could go with Roberto Clemente. I could go with some other guys. Did Brian Giles? I feel like Brian Giles might be a sneaky pick, but this could completely ruin it. 0.9%. Look at me go. I'm going to go Edgar Martinez because I feel like that might be a sneakier pick. 22%, who am I kidding? All right, now we're back to just 2 teams, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of stumped on all these. Like, no one is coming to my mind for any of these. What was that lefty's name that went yard off of Clayton Kershaw? Wasn't Matt Adams on both the Braves and the Cardinals? Okay, so I just pulled that out of my you-know-what. I don't know how I remembered Matt Adams was on the Braves. Charlie Morton is an Immaculate Grid legend because he's old and he's been on so many teams, and I'm pretty sure that he was back on the Pirates when he was younger. Again, that was a while ago, if I could spell. Hold on. Charlie Morton, I'm pretty sure he was on both teams. 20%. Wow, a lot of you guys thought the same thing. The Braves and the Mariners. I'm not gonna lie, the only guy that's coming to my head is Adam Lind, and I don't think that this is right. I don't think it is. I knew it wasn't. Robinson Cano, don't you know? Obviously, I don't know. And who the heck is Sid Bream? Well, that does it for today's MLB recap. If you watched all the way until the end, do me a favor, leave a like, it helps the channel, and also click that subscribe button if you're brand new. Again, I appreciate you guys watching and supporting, and I'll catch you in the next one.